Thank you, Dr. Torres, Dr. Sampson. What I'd like to do now is open up for questions, since we only have a few more minutes before we move on to the next section. We have questions? We were left dumbfounded by all this, we're amazed right now about,
Either that or Nico's phone.
Yeah.
I have a quick comment to add. Much of what we are talking about requires capacity at the community level, research capacity, and we encounter that because we don't want to leave you with the idea that, oh, this is just easy. And my concern with the quality of the participation is that we say, okay, everybody's welcome to the table, but if my community partner doesn't feel confident about his or her level of skill as it relates to research, probably he or she will not be saying much at the meeting. They will be at the table, but the quality or intensity of that participation probably will be ideal. Then what we have done, just as an idea, a possibility for you to explore is when we write grants, research grants, we also have a training component to it. And now what we have developed successfully in the last few years is a model, we call it Community Research Fellows, or fellowships. And then it's part of the grant. We can pay the agency, like we do as academics buyouts, that we don't teach as many courses we have external funding. Then we use some of the funding from the grant to buy out hours for this person's time in an agency. And the agency gets money and a little money, then that individual who has already an interest in research, but may not have yet the expertise, comes to the center and gets an intensive training in research for a whole year. Usually it's half a day a week, and they participate in the analysis clinic and the advanced statistical group, and then they do a project using data from the agency that they were interested in analyzing, and then they write a paper with us, and they present a poster in our annual research conference. Then that increases the capacity. Then our center doesn't get refunded for a third time, we hope we will. Then the agency has something, and there will be some capacity that was built through the process. And then they can continue to do their work. Then I think that's something we need to think about. We, the academics at least, in the group, and I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but at least my experience is that we tend to be so concerned about our own culture, academic culture, that we forget that also research capacity needs to be built at the community level for all these processes to take place.
I actually have a question for the panel. In some of my work, I'm finding the difficulty of going in as a researcher, having my process of how we do research. And the community often functions at a different pace. And wanting the intervention implemented, wanting the measures adapted, wanting to start using them. And I worry, and probably because I'm one of those junior faculty trying to figure out how to get good research, to get tenure, wanting to have fidelity to my work, wanting to apply for grants, and knowing I have a much longer timeline of how my work gets done to what the community wants. And I'm just wondering how you all have balanced that, or how you work with that.
Sure, yeah, I've really run into that as well. My research right now is right over here, just about a couple miles away at a Healthy Start agency. And when we sat down to talk, we started this 2 years ago. They're very interested in coming up with the intervention to prevent postpartum depression. Interest is there. It's like your dream community agency, right? They aren't really getting any flack about that, but
I have a follow-up question on that. What are the drivers causing that delay? You know, you have the ideal timeline for your research, but then there's some delay with the community agency. What's causing that?
I know for my particular situation, it's shortage in staff. And when we first trained the staff a year ago, we had one person that was going to do it all in Spanish, and then the other 3 caseworkers are African American, because our population is all African American, Latino, mostly Spanish speaking. And so there was transition in staff, and then we figured out that our inclusion criteria didn't really match the best time to capture the people. So we've had some really great lessons learned, but a lot of it will end up being things that you wouldn't even.
I think sometimes things get lost in translation also, that the difficulties that the agencies experience are not that different from the ones that we experience in academia. We get our delays as well. You know, we have the IRB didn't like something about our protocol, and they sent it back, and it has to be revised and submitted back to the IRB board, and of course they'll take in spring break, so we have to wait until they come back. So, you know, we have a plan that we have submitted that, you know, we were sure it was going to get scored and funded, and it got scored, but then sequestration came, and they were told that, you know, no decisions on funding are going to be made yet. So I think at the end of the day, the timelines are not that different. The issues might be slightly different, but I think that we can agree on that there are delays on both sides. And I think more importantly also that we're both in this for the long term. Both the agency, they're not just interested in doing this project and moving on, but they're interested in continuing to work and serve their communities on an ongoing basis. And hopefully we're not in this for the short term either. You know, we're going to continue to do this after, you know, we get tenure. Not if, but when we get tenure. So it's not that different.
I have a question. Dr. Marsiglia, how important is it for an early career scientist or a senior scientist like yourself to diversify your stream of funding from different agencies?
Thank you for calling me senior. But I think it's important, and sometimes what is interesting from my experience is that you see an RFP and say, oh, I don't think I will get it. And I have been surprised, like we got talking about prenatal care and postpartum and all those interesting issues. We did a study that was funded by Medicare and Medicaid with one of our hospital partners, and was funded just the first go around. You know, that is very unusual. And I had never received funding from Medicare and Medicaid, but the RFP was there, and we wanted to do this kind of promotoras kind of approach for inner conception care. You know, Latina mothers were coming for prenatal care, then they delivered a healthy baby, and they were feeling okay, and they were coming back to the clinic until they were pregnant again. And the medical personnel, they were concerned about that. How can we increase their visits in between pregnancies? And the whole intervention was done. It was a randomized control trial, and it was all funded by Medicare and Medicaid. And I had never gone to them. You know, usually we have been NIH funded. And I think what we have done too is we have created an office of evaluations and partner contracts, and it's self-funded because we're going to use NIH funding to fund evaluation projects in agencies. And our community partners understand the need to contribute to that, and it's self-funded. And we have a director and around 11 staff members just in that office. And the only thing they do is evaluation work. And they get contracts from the state, from the city and the county and many agencies and hospitals. Then diversifying has been very important to us because, as we know, funding streams sometimes dry up. I will encourage everybody to do that. And what we have found is evaluation projects or contracts can lead to R1s. Like the American Indian R1 we have now started as a contract that we got from the Office of the Governor in Arizona for Family and Children. And that evaluation then gave us the preliminary data to write R1. Then we have to be creative. We have to connect.
Thank you to our panel. I'd like to present you with a small gift from our university. Thank you, everybody.